Hey guys, welcome back to regularly scheduled programming. So just a quick note on what exactly happened there. So the software that I use for the show, to record the show, to edit the show, is Adobe Audition. And it's pretty nice, whatever. And I got it free for college. And I graduated about 9 months ago. So they just finally kicked me off of it, so I was locked out of everything that I need to, view the recording and edit the show and all that stuff. So I was put in a position where I either had to find money to pay for this very expensive software, or I could find a way around it. But what happened was, my good friend Connor, friend of the show, Connor Hayes, has stepped up to the plate. He's not the stepfather, he's the father that stepped up. And he said, hey, I have a school account still. I can help you guys out. And so from now on, this show is going to be powered by Connor. So special thanks to Connor. This show is continuing on free for the most part. We had to pay for the RSS feed, but free software. So yeah, enjoy the show. Hello everybody and welcome back to the Highly Suspicious podcast with Louie and Preston. My name is Louie.
My name is Preston.
We're reporting once again live for the Trap House. It's so funny, I don't even do the intro all the time when it's just us, because it's just like, who gives a fuck?
You know why you're here.
Yeah. Just talking to Preston in the basement, but we got Big Z, Zavion, back in the studio. First time in this studio, right?
Yeah, no man, it looks good. Oh,
it's coming together.
That intro was pretty nice. It was natural.
Professional.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, a lot of times we just start talking with the mic on, and I'm like, should I introduce the show? I guess I'll introduce the show.
Depends on what we say
really
beforehand.
Yeah.
Because sometimes if we're already like in the thick of a conversation, it's not worth being like, hola.
Everyone stop what you're doing. Let me introduce the show. So I just got some random stuff today. I don't really have any like current event sort of things, just because, I don't know, dry week. It's been a dry week.
Yeah.
That's fine. We are recording this a week in advance, so
who knows?
Always with the risk of that is on Saturday, just some of the craziest shit happens, and it's the end of the world type shit, and we're on here talking about,
some local
stupid
news,
shit.
some bullshit.
Yeah.
So here's something that I wanted to bring up. Zavion, do you got anything that you want to talk about before
on your mind?
I dig in? As our esteemed guest.
Yeah, if I had to think three random things just off the top of my head, I already know you guys talked about this, but I would like to hear y'all's insight on the Arlington thing.
Yeah.
I kind of went blank there. But that's one.
You set yourself up with a list of three.
Yeah, I did.
I was like, 3? Wow, he got a lot on his mind.
Because it's like I had two that I was like, when you say the world ending, it's just like there's so many.
That's one of our go-to topics.
Yeah.
We always end up around there somewhere at some point.
Yeah.
I think in this generation, it's just something that our mind gravitates towards, because there's a possibility.
Well,
that
and it's also just like
gonna be
super prominent in our media.
life.
Yeah.
And it does. I think it's one of those things where it's like, just like every generation could think that they had it better in some ways than the previous, or than the coming generations.
Yeah.
There's also that negative inverse where it's like, this aspect of our reality or point in time that we live in is worse than it's ever been or ever will be. But that's just like a natural human thought process to be like dramatic and personal about that kind of shit.
Yeah. But it is true, if society and the world just keeps getting worse over time, it is consistently the worst era that we're living in if shit is just going down.
Yeah, I watched the Jordan Peterson video, and he said something about how people, when they lack purpose or something to that degree, that they try to find ways to make their story interesting. Even if it's to the demise of human existence or something like that.
No, but but
it's just like when
grandeur,
right,
for sure.
So when you think about the age that we're in, from a technical standpoint, probably have had the most opportunity when it comes to just all around ethnicities, technological investments at its like all-time high.
Well, and we're seeing like AI and shit, which is like fucking when they first came out, the fucking smartphone was some futuristic Star Trek like technology, and now it's like we got actual AI going on.
Yeah, I watched this one YouTube video that was really amazing, and it was titled something like, "Is the world really getting worse?" And they basically, brought up a bunch of shit that is worse right now,
but also like
a bunch
medicine.
of shit that is better right now. And if you just spend your entire life trying to quantize like what's better in the world, what's worse in the world, you would just make your head spin.
Yeah.
Just trying to,
Yeah.
Because what is the world, right?
Yeah.
It's fucking everything. Everything that we have going on is the world. So obviously some shit's going to be, on an upswing. Some things are going to be on a downswing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's because the main currency right now is data and attention.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's so like you were saying, it's so hard to just like stay attentive to like what's happening in your own life.
Yeah.
There's just so many distractions.
Else is external.
Right.
And it can feel like a lot.
Yeah.
But if you go to like that base level,
mm-hmm.
then it's just like everybody's personal life is probably better than it was.
Well, right. No, exactly. And you can feel that polarization in thoughts around when you're in different environments and what is just being, on media and stuff.
Yeah, what you see versus what you experience.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then it's like, okay, it's like it's feel like you either have, you're like on two different sides right now. Yeah. It's like, if you think this way, you're this.
Yeah.
And if you think this way, like, I do not mean, like, we do not
get
so
along. Polarized unnecessarily.
For sure. Yeah. And we didn't really talk that much about Arlington, to be honest. I think we just
it seems weird.
We got our jokes in about it for sure, but just going off of that, I think the most surprising part of it is just how from my perspective, I expected it to be politicized. I expected it to be Arlington would either be like, they could be like,
never come
Trump,
back.
I mean, like, they could be like, Trump's for the soldiers. He can take selfies or whatever the fuck he wants in the cemetery. But they really said, nope, this is the rule. I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican. I don't care who the fuck you are. I don't care if you're the ex-president of the United States. You can't come in here and film propaganda. And that's one of the craziest parts about it is just, because everything's political right now. Things that aren't political.
It's election year. Political. It's some bull.
The Supreme Court has become political.
Yeah.
They vote based on politics and not based on the Constitution and
or
what they're actual
philosophical law shit.
And even the education system is politicized because they try to teach the real things in school. And then there's a group of people that are like,
agenda.
This is woke.
Yeah.
Y'all can't be talking about that. But, going back to something that you brought up, just attention is sort of the thing right now that is the most valuable commodity that everyone's trying to tap in on. Because I think everything else is in danger of going out of style, going out of business. Because, with technology changes, with shit like that, the one thing that stays valuable is attention.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they even teach about that, in business school. Just, goodwill is something that you have as a company that you can't, write down on the stat sheet.
Yeah.
But if you come out with a new product, you can get that shit sold if people like you
or your business,
what you got going on.
From prior knowledge.
Because everyone is like, you know, you only have so many different industries.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's just like, we could both be selling water, but if I sell the water better, you know.
It's all marketing.
But if you're cooler than me and people like you better, then they're like, I'm going to buy water with Zavion. It's the same water. It's fucking water.
Yeah, man.
I've seen a David Attenborough quote going around where it's like, basically the fight for nature and, you know, in opposition of the climate crisis is like a communications issue, is a branding issue. Unfortunately, you know, because that's like why he makes documentaries, is spread the word and show, you know, even if you live in the middle of the fucking city and you've never been out in nature like that, show people how beautiful the world is, show, you know, how everything is connected in a way. And it's just like, it's so hard to break that barrier on something like that because it's so, you know, conceptual and distant for a lot of people when really it's like, you gotta market it the right way. You gotta sell it and get people's attention in a certain way when there's so many other bullshit things out there.
Because even going off of that, like, people like me who believe in climate change, like, I can't invest the time to, like, read up on it and get sad. Like, that's not really a productive use of anyone's time.
And so, like, I feel like the best companies have the ability to create a brand or create some type of image through marketing where when you read it, you go off your first instinct.
Yeah,
you know, you go off that
gut feeling.
That gut feeling, you know, that sporadic response, that emotional stimuli off the rip. Most people don't go the second layer and think about that emotional decision that they possibly could make. You know, and so it's like, if you don't think systematic enough, then it's like, okay, boom, you go off what you feel. Yeah. And then after you do it, it's almost like a medicine. Or just like you're in this like daze.
Nah, it's all about that dopamine stimulation.
And I feel like people just like, it's hard to have it's hard to have tough conversations as well.
Yeah, because those require more than your TikTok length,
right?
You know, stimuli.
Yeah,
for sure.
You know,
I love how heady we already got. I love how we just dove right into getting heavy.
It's kind of like with your girlfriend, with your wife, where you don't want to argue or you don't want to have the tough conversations all the time.
Yeah,
and it's like, and because like both people, you get to a point where you like your job as that significant other is you want to meet their needs.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So like, all things considered, you know, so it's just like, yeah, you know, you may come back to it, think about it, come back, but you always gotta have a tough conversation.
Right, but there's always other shit going on as well, so you gotta be able to, like, you know, put a pin in
compartmentalize.
It. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
That's the fucking word.
Because, like, whenever we would, like, when we first started getting in arguments, I'd just be like, I'm going in the back room for a little bit.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Yeah. You know.
I mean, yeah, sometimes that is the best way to do it because, you know, this is going into a different thing, but just like the emotion that goes into like arguing with somebody, it takes the logic out of it.
Oh, absolutely.
So given time and space to a matter, that really sucks that oxygen out of the room where it's like, okay, let's talk about what the fuck we're really talking about.
Right.
And not,
oh my god.
You know, and not what Louis did 6 months ago.
Right. And it kind of goes back to what he was saying, you know, the external environments really have found a way to kind of like intrude your home.
Yeah.
Because when you think about the dating world nowadays, you know, it could be a toxic man. He could be narcissistic and emotionally manipulative. But let's say she had 2 or 3 guys like that before you, and just all the things she consumes is like, like men are patriarchal and tyrannical creatures. And whenever you do meet a good man, you mistake his competence for wanting to control you. And it's not, I'm here to help you. I'm not here to...
I actually saw something recently.
Wait. Zavion, that was perfect. You couldn't have scripted that any better. That was perfect. That goes right into something that I wanted to bring up today.
Okay.
And you literally said a point that I had to make about it before I even brought up the conversation.
I appreciate you letting me finish that.
Nah, you were cooking. So, this was something that I was going to bring up this episode. And I thought that this might go for a while. Or it could be like a 2-second thing, I don't know. Mm-hmm. But I was watching this true crime thing on Netflix. Mm-hmm. It's a new one where it's that Lacey Peterson girl who's this pregnant woman who gets killed by her husband, basically. So it's a 3-part thing. And in the show, they're talking about how, their relationship was sus and whatever. Mm-hmm. And their friends are saying, like, he was very nice to her, affectionate at the beginning, and bringing her flowers and stuff and all this shit, and taking her on vacations and all this stuff. And one of them is like, they didn't have the term for it back then, but the term that was created for that is lovebombing. Mm-hmm. And so I turned to Caroline and I'm like, what the fuck is lovebombing?
You never heard that before?
And she kind of gives the explanation, whatever. I went on to Google it, and so here's what it is.
It's a little complex, but I feel like I had heard that before.
I think
So lovebombing is a emotional manipulation technique that involves giving someone excessive compliments, attention, or affection to eventually control them.
Yeah.
So, going off of what Zavion said, bringing this up for me, that is something that has literally been, invented and created as a concept.
Yeah.
And most of what that is going to do is just make people feel insecure in their relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because
it's a
basically,
concept.
because all it's doing is saying, that person that's being nice to you
isn't actually.
You shouldn't necessarily trust it. They might just be trying to control you.
I think it's like
they're just love bombing you. He's buying you flowers because he wants to control you in your life.
Why the switch up? Yeah. Whereas if you a douchebag on the day-to-day and then she says something about it and you're like, oh, I gotta change my act for the next 24 hours so I can keep being an asshole.
Yeah.
I think that's more so what it means is that sort of switch up that manipulative people will do.
And when people with that type of behavior, if it never changes, I saw
it's not permanent.
Right.
It's not a mindset change. It's a I'm thinking about it right now because somebody said something about it.
Always reacting off the emotion. Mm-hmm. And I saw a definition. It said sanity is being able to be in social environments, but while also having the ability to allow someone to say you're being dumb right now.
Yeah, and accept it.
And you'll actually listen.
Right.
Insanity is the opposite. You're
like, no, I'm always right. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. But no, I definitely feel you on that.
So I was doing more research on it. Just went on YouTube today because I was thinking about it, and I was like, I'm going to bring this up on the show today because we don't have a monumental cultural event to bring up. Mm-hmm. And so I watched this one lady who is the quote doctor of narcissism.
Yeah.
And she's talking about how love bombing is where you're very nice to someone at the beginning of the relationship and they extract information from somebody to not extort them, to basically just throw it back in their face to use that against them. And I just thought,
that seems different than the
is
original
that not
definition
every relationship you've ever been a part of?
Yeah.
Where you get some initial information, you're a little extra sweet
at the beginning,
and then
some shit gets thrown in your face.
Self. Yeah.
And then some shit gets thrown in your face, and you're like, damn, I told you that in
confidence.
Confidence, and now I'm getting barred for it.
Yeah.
So that's not fucking love bombing. And then I watched another video that said it was kind of something else, where it said, people are nice to you and, giving you all this stuff attention, flowers, all the stuff that we're already talking about, to get affection back, and it makes you feel good, and then it'll eventually lead to them ghosting you because it wasn't necessarily a real thing.
Yeah.
And
those are all different definitions. Same term.
All different definitions, and all kind of preying on this insecurity that people have,
like it's disingenuous.
If you're dating someone and then it goes south and then they ghost you, that doesn't mean that they've been
bombed you,
emotionally manipulating you. It doesn't mean
they're just a piece of shit. They just ghosted you. That's shitty.
That in the 21st century, all of this stuff has
those are like Urban Dictionary definitions, not like
everyone has labels for stuff. Everyone calls everything toxic and stuff like that. Well, it's all these terms that are overused to the point that they lack any sort of meaning.
Pseudo psychology almost, because it's the same as it's like I follow a lot of like linguistic specialists online. I find it very interesting how language develops, and it's very intrinsically tied to culture. And
for sure,
a lot of it is like therapy terms that end up where it's like everybody has a little OCD. No, OCD is a debilitating condition where you cannot stop thinking about, did I leave the oven on? Did I lock my door?
No, right.
I had this bad thought. I'm a terrible person because I had this one thought and I can't stop thinking about it.
Right.
That's real OCD versus I'm a little tidy sometimes.
Yeah.
I have a little OCD.
No, I don't like my house being dirty.
Everybody's a little ADHD. No, you got distracted because you're a human being and human beings can get distracted sometimes.
Yeah.
But do you have a disorder that makes it impossible for you not to be every day of your life?
Yeah.
No. That's not how therapy terms work.
I do agree with your statement.
So like trauma.
I do think that it is a spectrum. So there are people that are slightly OCD and slightly ADHD. Absolutely. But you're 100% right that people just
90% of the population's not just out here with 10% OCD.
Do you have ADHD or are you just not paying attention?
Yeah.
Do you have ADHD? Do
you watch too much TikTok?
Are you just addicted to TikTok and can't
focus on it? Right. No, for sure. And because, bro, to a degree, I mean, we're primitive by nature. Yeah. So, to a degree, we sacrifice long-term relationship for the benefit of a short-term gain.
Yeah.
But you can do it at a healthy level, though. You can do it within reason.
So it's like
the farther you are on one side, if you're a high-level narcissist, you will sacrifice a long-term relationship for a short-term pleasure, no matter
because
what.
Because that's what matters.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I feel like just like the dating industry as a whole, I feel like there's certain groups of dating where you're almost like a politician. You really high level narcissist. You're
selling yourself.
Right. Kind of sadistic.
And I saw a post. I don't know if I ever brought it up on the show. You'll have to remind me if I did, but just post about it's okay to be selfish. Normalize.
But that doesn't make you a narcissist. Right? Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Where it's those hyperbolic terminology.
People just don't understand. You have to look out for yourself because no one else is going to.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So to put yourself in a position where you just have to live and exist for other people, for job, for your friends, for your family, that puts yourself in a position where you're not doing shit for yourself, and you're going to regret that. You're going to regret not taking time for yourself.
Yeah. And I feel like us as the men, I feel like we have to lead that because by nature, I feel like women don't think that way.
Well, and also confidence would be a male trait. Generally speaking, when you say the word confidence, I think if you did a survey of
testosterone,
they're like that's a male idea of be macho, whatever the fuck, versus feminine concepts of nurturing. If I said nurturing, you think woman,
right?
That's just that's how psychology works. Yeah, and so it is just kind of
because if
dramatization.
Because if we live in delusion, you could be a deadbeat man and no matter how much your woman says she wanted that, you do that, and then she leaves you because she doesn't feel like she's being, cared for, or sense of provide.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's also like I think that like you were talking about dating culture. I think it's so I'm glad that like I never even really had to deal with that. My wife, it was easy.
I'm glad that phase of my life is.
But it's just like over. Nuts. And my wife went to the club recently, and she talked about swatting guys left and right, and just being like, nah, ring, whatever. But it's like it's just fucking weird in my mind because there is this sort of like false image. You do have to sell yourself
for sure.
You do have to kind of just be like, this part of me does not exist right now. No. We're not going to talk about that until it actually comes up.
Yeah.
Right now, I am perfect in every way. All right. And I think that's like I know plenty of people where it's like you get introduced to that false version of somebody, and it's like you see confidence. And then they are actually a fucking narcissist. But you're attracted to that in some weird fucked up way.
Yeah, bro.
Or like, in the inverse way, it's like some women can be emotionally manipulative where it's like this sort of, and it's because of the culture of, every man's toxic. It's presented this way as a factual thing.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I'm the victim no matter what the fuck's going on. And men have that mentality too, but it's just like how it's presented, how it's sold culturally for, women and men.
Yeah.
Versus just like, we're all fucking people.
Yeah.
Like, be honest.
Yeah. And that's why I feel like we as just individual beings, we have to find purpose, So it's like, whenever you are in those environments, you can weed out people that
disingenuous shit,
and you're just being actors in a new environment. Well, you know what I mean?
I think it's really telling that I met my wife when I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to try for a relationship. If I meet somebody, I'm going to continue to be my genuine self. Yeah. And if it works out, it works out.
Yeah. I was just about to say the same thing. Just meeting Caroline in my dorm room, like it was kind of casual. It wasn't a moment as far as I'm selling myself. It was what you see is what you get moment. Seeing my nasty ass dorm room,
right,
and seeing how I live, drinking out of McDonald's cups, and shit like that.
And what's so funny when I met Katie didn't know I smoked.
Yeah,
and. She got to know me, and when she figured out I smoked, she still stayed with me.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show, like, you automatically have this image in your head of who someone is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's like, sometimes it's a good actor, sometimes it's a bad actor.
Oh my God, right?
For sure.
But whenever we leave the house and we go into society, we're all putting up a facade in some degree.
Yeah. Well, it's like we're all young, we're entering adulthood, and there is this moment of like, I gotta pretend I'm an adult and just go out and fake it till I make it, you know?
For sure.
And that's why, like, when you look at people like older now, we have enough experience in life, I feel like, where you're like,
oh, we're all doing the same shit.
Right.
Yeah. It doesn't matter how... I've met 30-year-olds where I'm like, shit, we're on the same type of time where it's just like... I know you're still bullshitting. Like, you've been an adult for fucking 10 years. You're on the same shit that I am. Right. Go out here.
Right. Oh, man. So, like, when I look back now, and I remember some of the guys when I was in college, 19, 20, 21, that were in there, and they were like 27, 28 years old.
And it can be a little intimidating, too, like, when you first get into that sort of experience, or, like, workplace even, where you're interacting with people that you're like, that's a real adult, air quotes.
Right.
Is just, like, now that we've experienced a little bit, it's chill. It's chill, I got it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Do you think that anyone, like, doesn't have imposter syndrome to some degree?
I had it one time.
Really cocky motherfuckers.
Yeah, like, I had it one time. I was whenever...
when you've had imposter syndrome?
Yeah. Because, like, I feel like imposter syndrome is just, like, it takes a little while to, like, accept that you are... sacrificing your old self for the betterment of your future.
Life has changed.
And right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And so, part of it's just that by itself. But I feel like
when I think of it, I think of like when you don't feel like you've done anything to deserve the shit that you have.
Yeah.
So I think that everyone feels that to some degree as far as just, I mean, it comes with being grateful a little bit when you're like,
yeah, for sure.
I got a roof over my head.
I got it too good.
Yeah, I live in America. I got all this shit going for me. We all got girls.
Yeah.
And it's just like, sometimes you look at that and you're grateful, but it's also
but you're like, also, did I even really do anything to deserve that? I could be a fucking nobody doing the same shit.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm not a saint. Yeah. I'm not this super positive member of society.
Yeah. It's like you're on a certain level of like understanding. You see the world differently. Like your reality and how you perceive the world is completely different from somebody else's perception of reality and
where they take it for granted in a way.
Right.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And so basically segue back to what I was saying with my time I experienced imposter syndrome. Like, my childhood, no, you're fine. Like, my childhood's kind of, it wasn't the best, but like, it wasn't the worst, And like, we did have some bad times, but like, there's always something worse, So, when I got on the UBS and I went on that training to Nashville, I was the guy freshman year, doing the ballet and all this stuff, and just like all the different types of environments that I was in growing up, from just like being in the hood to being in subsidized apartments, to being around like basically hoodlums, like just badass kids, to going to Preston, Kentucky, where 90% of the race is white, and it's a country, and it's like a whole different type of ideology, and just like how people interact with each other. And so just understanding that and evolving to the person that I've become, and understanding that some relationships had to be sacrificed. No. And like, this is my road though. This is my lane. Like, nobody else is gonna make it. You can't undo nothing,
so you might as well accept it. Yeah. Appreciate
it. And we went to the club one night, and
in Princeton?
On Broadway, in Nashville, when I was on that trip to UBS, and I go back in my room, and it's like one of the high-riser apartments, so you can kind of like see everything. Mm-hmm. And the dude parked my car and took my luggage up to my room, and I'm like, I'm like,
that is a crazy role reversal.
Yeah, I was this is crazy, bro. And it was just like, it was kind of overwhelming for a second when I sat down, and I was kind of drunk a little bit,
and it makes you intrinsic. You're like, damn, who am I?
Right, but then you just learn to accept, like, bro, this is just a part of growing.
Yeah.
Change
is inevitable.
For sure.
Musical intermission?
Yeah. You got anything that you've been bumping recently? Anything you want to pull up?
I listen to a lot of Gunna.
What do you like from Gunna?
That One of One album, bro. It's pretty nice.
Play something.
Okay, that Treesh go crazy.
The shawty be doing her thing, but she for the streets, and still got a man. Ain't got to speak, and I ain't pressed. She want the D, I read her eyes. She wanna eat, she wanna die, only eat meat. Pen it to the side, slipping and slide, sucking and ride in the GT. I like them fine, at least a 9. Call me a vibe, call up a Treesh. Treesh, 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 Treesh.
What was that?
It was just another Gunna song.
No, what's it called?
Treesh. Yeah. Pretty good.
So, I bumped that album when it came out. I wasn't really feeling it. But now I feel like I gotta go back.
Hey, bro, I had the same experience. I was like, I played it one time, I was like, it's alright. And then it was like, I played it again a couple months later. I'm
like, damn, this goes hard.
We've actually been talking about Gunna a lot on the podcast recently.
Really?
Last episode, we brought up how he pretty much snitched on
Young Thug.
And we came up with a conspiracy theory that it was all a part of the master plan, and Young Thug told him to snitch so he could get out and
pay his lawyer,
make that YSL money, make that label money for him.
Because he's still music's still being dropped with him featuring. So it's like isn't he isn't it still ongoing right now?
Yeah, it is.
Because something happened with the lawyer. They got to completely redo.
Oh, they got that motherfucker locked up too. It was crazy.
That's crazy, bro.
They got the judge toss. Did they lock up the lawyer?
I don't know if they got him locked up. I think that he also got a charge or some shit.
Yeah, that's some movie shit.
It is.
Yeah, it really
oh my
is.
god! Wait, watch this be like 40 or some shit, and they're like, Young Thug, the movie.
I think we did. Right. I think we did cover maybe the Amber Heard trial thing a couple of times on here.
Yeah.
But we've been covering this Young Thug
since
trial
day one, man.
Yeah. Since it started, pretty much.
Absolutely.
And we had a whole episode where we talked about how it was kind of fucked up.
No, because I remember us talking about that. I remember us talking about RICO charges, where it's like the feds had to invent that shit to catch the mob because there was like such minimal evidence, and it was all about getting a few people to fucking rat.
Yeah.
And so it's really so vague.
Yeah.
Of a case.
Yeah.
And they're just like, but you said you shot him, and then you said fuck his mama.
Yeah.
And it's.
I feel like nowadays too, it's like, bro, like celebrities are so, like, especially music artists, it's such a crazy craft.
I mean, you go back too, and it's
you
like
know?
It's some classic hip hop shit to be acting tough or whatever. It used to be genuine. Then it became a little more, this is the vibe and this is how we got to present ourselves. I've seen a lot of stuff recently talking about how there's some shit in some Kendrick verses where it's like, but did he do that?
Yeah. I mean, shoot, that's why, what's his name got locked up? TK. He told on himself.
Yeah, exactly. And you got to be vague enough with the lyrics because it's like if you say a little too much,
and
you're like, this fits that case.
I don't remember exactly what we said in that episode, but I think we did bring up Bobby Shmurda and TK, how they both kind of got locked up for some shit in their music, but it's just kind of like. It's music, bro. Like, how can you can say anything. How many people do we know that rap for the first time and never picked up a gun and they're rapping about, killing people?
Yeah,
I think just because someone else dies doesn't mean that you could just say,
he did it. The thing with those two music videos, though, when you listen to what they're saying, you can really tie shit. Like, that's too similar to this case right here.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Yes. For sure. Definitely.
And it goes to show, like, what we were saying earlier about just, like, attention being the main currency. And just, like, having a genuine marketing or a genuine model of something, people, like, attract to that most.
Yeah.
Where they feel like they can be like you. So it's like, when you think about, like, Future, Kodak... these guys are just hood guys that, like, they're making money because we like violence.
Because they market themselves in a way.
And like I was saying, where it's like there's sort of some Kendrick lyrics where it's like, could be that he did some shit. Yeah. Could be he just saw some shit because he grew up in that environment. Like, that's totally possible for all these other people, too, where it's like, just because they talking about it don't mean they did it.
Yeah.
They just might have watched somebody get shot the fuck up outside their crib. Yeah. Like, it happens.
Yeah.
TK's legendary for that shit, though.
Oh,
For running from the police who indicted him and put out the race.
Oh my God.
I beat the case, bitch, I did the race. Basically saying, y'all aren't catching me.
Man, bro. And what's so crazy is, what's interesting is how, like, those two videos were, like, some of the most viral music videos.
Absolutely.
And it's like we like that shit. But we get hype off of this, like, dark shit. It's crazy.
Because it is almost like true crime mixed with music at a certain point where it's like... Because you're reading into the tabloids, you're seeing it being talked about in the news. It's all this coverage of it.
No publicity is bad publicity sort of thing, where it's like if it's controversial and people are talking about it nonstop,
it's
still kind of hyping you up. It's still getting your name out there, your brand out there. Yeah. So it's like controversy is also part of that currency of attention.
And when you think about energy and like the things that you tell yourself and the words that you put out into existence, how that really affects who you are and like what you think and what you think you can do in life. And so it's just like when you think about that, like, don't get me wrong, Juice WRLD dying was horrible, but it's like a lot of his music is depressing.
Yeah, a lot of his music is about doing too many drugs and so eventually dying.
Well, it could have been starting off. Yeah, maybe I'm just talking about shit that I've seen, whatever. But because you're like taking that in, because you're actualizing it, words become actions.
Exactly, bro. And you might not even be knowing you're doing it. Right. Until it's like, it's staring you dead in the face,
So you're saying it's like a manifestation thing that you're manifesting what you're putting out there?
But like, the thing is, it's crazy how big it was. Like, Juice WRLD was huge. People love Juice WRLD. But it's like, when I'm listening to this, I'm like, bro, this makes me just want to, like, sit in my room and just, like,
lock the fuck up.
Right. Yeah. I'm like, some of this stuff is depressing.
For sure.
And, like, people will be jamming it, saying his words,
Not and actually listening.
Like, this is horrible.
Sure. I feel like rap gets in that sort of area too, where it's like the beat will go so crazy and so hard, but the lyrics will be like, "I want to kill myself," and it's nobody's hearing that. They're just like, "Yo, bump it, turn up that bass."
Right.
Yeah, that was definitely Juice, unfortunately.
Right, man, it's crazy,
and that does really show with that. No one really gives a fuck about you except for yourself.
Yeah.
Because he was not trying to hide that shit at all. He was putting that shit out there.
I think
and no one helped him. He had a billion fans. He had a whole circle.
Nobody helped him.
And he did go to rehab for a stint, and then he was back on. That
like, being famous, bro, I just know that's so
I'm sure it's
tough, bro. Yeah. It's like, you don't know who to trust.
Well, and it's weird because there's this, like, idolization, but it's also, like, your fans don't really care about you.
Yeah.
Like, they gonna be like,
does it bump
hey, you know, every time you see them, they know who the fuck you are, but they don't know who you actually are.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, if they actually gave a fuck, they're like, hey, somebody better check on this motherfucker, because I'm listening to these lyrics, and he don't sound alright.
Kind of almost like the Travis Scott concert, where else people died. It's like, people hated him for a little while.
But then it's like it never happened. Oh my god. We talked about that shit on the podcast.
I think that was just because it was a fake stance a lot of people had.
Kinda.
I don't think people really thought he was a Satanist, that he was sacrificing people and all the shit there.
Right.
But going back to the Juice WRLD thing, I think it is crazy that his dad actually did do some good, I think, as far as a lot of people that he was, like, friends with were like, I used to do perks with Juice WRLD, and now I kind of see how I go too hard one night and I'm going to be fucking dead, so I'm off the shit.
Makes them think about
Polo
it.
G came out and said basically those words in a song. Trippie Redd came out and said that he was getting off of the shit because of all that shit, so it's like it sucks that
had to happen for them to kind of have that come to Jesus moment.
Because if it wasn't Juice WRLD, it would have been someone else.
Him and Mac Miller were like in the same time frame a little bit. Interesting story. I was talking to my cousin a couple of days ago, and we brought up Juice WRLD, and he was saying he went to school with him.
What the fuck?
Yeah, but, like, they weren't in, like, the same groups or anything, but he was like, bro, Juice WRLD was always high. Like, just blitzed in high school. Whatever.
No, and that's some unhealthy coping mechanism type shit.
Yeah, and like next thing you know, he was trying, but he didn't know he was gonna blow up like when you blow up like that, you don't know you're gonna blow up like that.
And it just changes your status and like what your bank account looks like, but it doesn't change who you are.
Yeah, man, and that's why that foundational stuff, bro, is so just required and pivotal for your life, prominent for your life.
Yeah.
Because it's just like you can easily become somebody else's puppet, bro.
Oh my god, and that's a lot of the rap industry too. Is like it's some fucked up shit. That's why most people want to have their own label and shit, because otherwise somebody's hands up your ass and they're like, no, you got to make this kind of album, otherwise I'm not publishing it.
Yeah,
and it's fucked up
for sure.
Because it puts you in a chokehold kind of position where you gotta compromise yourself a bit.
Well, that's where capitalism is like fucked, bro. It's just it's just the greed and the manipulation that people use to abuse their power to keep power.
Yeah.
Did we see the fucking trailer for the Minecraft movie?
Yeah, bro, that's gonna be hilarious, bro. I think it's gonna be hilarious.
I have a toxic trait where when they announce that these movies are coming out, I'm like, that sounds actually good. That sounds like it could actually be funny or entertaining or whatever. And then when the trailer comes out, I'm just like, fuck this.
Yeah.
I did that with
I saw it and I was like, what? They decided Jumanji wasn't good enough?
Yeah.
I did that with the Mario movie where I was like, that sounds like it could be good.
Yeah.
You thought it was going to be good at one point?
We talked about it on the show. We were like, we got Seth Rogen on here. We got
one.
See, I think we lack creativity that we did back then. Because a lot of shit is just like remakes of what we watched when we were little kids.
Yeah. I was thinking about how one of Jack Black's best movies might be fucking Kung Fu Panda. And I'm like, somebody just put the words Kung Fu and Panda together and said, let's fucking go with it.
Right.
And it's like, why don't they do that anymore?
No, right.
Like, there's no reason that you shouldn't just be like Taekwondo Snake and just fucking make a movie about it. Instead of being like, you know what we really need right now?
Another Beetlejuice.
Another Beetlejuice. Another adaptation of a video game into a movie, which is the dumbest trend that I've seen right now. I think the first one might have been like the Assassin's Creed movie or some shit. Well, besides like the original Mario movies,
Assassin's Creed
but like
movie
the first for our generation.
Yeah.
The Assassin's Creed movie was decent.
Oh, was it?
No, it wasn't. I'm thinking of Mortal Kombat.
What was that? What was that one? Did y'all ever watch this one cartoon? It was I want to say it was called like Sensei something, where he was like this cartoon character.
Samurai Jack.
Was it Samurai? Was it Samurai Jack, where he's like the little cartoon character, kind of look like a drawing, and he'd be like slicing and everything. I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, I think so.
What'd you say it was called?
I don't know. Samurai Jack was a badass. That's the same animator that did like Dexter's Lab.
Dexter's Lab was the shit, bro.
I saw a clip where I didn't even realize that this episode was
bro, Samurai Jack was my shit.
I've been watching that every so often where I'm just like, I need something mindless in the background. It's some crazy plot too.
And they don't even talk that much.
No.
They may say 2 words.
It's got decent action scenes though. Really. No, so he's got that director. What is it, like Gregor Cherkovsky or some shit? Wait, I want to say his.
They say that Lion King movie that just came out. They said that was like a box office hit.
That pissed me off.
Gendy Tartakovsky. He's got a few series where he did Dexter's Laboratory.
Tough.
But he's also got this series called Primal on HBO. That shit's solid. I mean, it's. He also did like the Clone Wars and shit like that.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, man. It's just something about that time period that I feel like
nostalgia is just like it's valid. We always talk about where it's like people might be like, no, that's actually shit. But if you have nostalgia for it, it changes your perspective on things.
It does.
It counts.
But there's not I don't think people are really creating like they were though. I feel like a lot of people are just copycatting.
It's about sales, but like we were talking about, capitalism just fucking ruins shit. Where it's just like I need viewers. I need.
If I create this original content from scratch, then
I spend all that time and nobody's gonna. Yeah, but if I make pre-existing fan base.
But if I make a Borderlands movie, then there's a built-in fan base that's gonna watch it.
Yeah. Fuck. See, but the thing about that type of mindset though, the market always exposes you. You know what I mean? So it's just like
totally.
I want to say 80% of the S&P every 10 years is completely replaced. So it's just like it just goes to show like you only can copy so much. I mean, you see Blockbuster. You know, they didn't want to make that move into.
They didn't want to adapt.
Right, and they were
Netflix.
And they were $1 billion company. So it goes to show you anybody can lose. You know, if you don't adjust for modern day time. So it's like it sucks right now, but eventually they're going to have to because people are going to get it's going to get dull.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just buy movies just to go to the movie.
Yeah,
like I think a big audience is like parents with kids, young kids, or even older kids.
Well, and it's so easy to get a kid to want to go see some bullshit.
So check this out. Have you watched Quiet Place?
Yeah.
Is that with the alien?
Yeah.
So have y'all watched the one that just came out?
I have not. I've seen the trailer. I've seen the ads for it all over
I've
the
seen
place.
the first one and the second one.
It looks kind of good.
Yeah, so I was hoping they were going to go off of how it ended on the last one.
I like a prequel.
Yeah.
I enjoy a good prequel.
Yeah.
I feel like if you are going to return to the same sort of content, you can go for that sort of unexplored time frame.
Yeah.
And I think especially something like that, like we were talking about, the end of the world mentality, where it's like, a lot of media starts, it's already happened.
Yeah.
But getting that perspective of like how it went down is a really interesting take.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, for sure.
What are you saying though?
And so basically what happened was the whole plot of the story is them trying to get onto that boat to that island that they ended up going to on the last one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So the way the whole plot is this woman. It's this. I think it was a man that's trying to be transgender, and a white businessman.
Yeah.
And basically, it's kind of like this. Like they're trying to get to the coast to get on the boat, and throughout that whole journey, they start to develop this relationship.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And so then the transgender person, since she can't take her medicine, she's gonna die. And so and so. Instead of her going on the boat, she did a distraction.
Sacrifice.
And the white businessman jumps off and but it's an interesting take on just utilizing different sexualities to try to get people to at least freaking live together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Type shit.
Or just marketing.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely a huge marketer. Because you don't see that much often. You don't see a movie with
I think that there is the argument for inclusion and stuff like that. But at the same time, I think a lot of people are against the forced inclusion. The sort of just shoehoorning. Does there need to be
XYZ character,
does there need to be all female Ghostbusters?
No, it doesn't.
Does there need to be and that's what they're doing a lot of the time. They're not making, like we said, they're not making
content
original
for that
content
demographic. I think that's totally a realistic view on
if you did that, it would be this is awesome.
Yeah.
And then
I think
incel-ass Redditor is going to be
this is woke. This is the woke agenda.
Why are you making Spider-Man black? Why are you making the Little Mermaid black? It's because they fucking were white in the first place, and people for some reason care about stupid shit.
Yeah, bro, like
when it should just be like actual representation.
Yeah, like the mermaid. Bro.
Make a good transgender movie. Make a good
right.
Don't just black show.
Make a switch a character.
Right,
for
bro.
no reason.
Like Martin. The Martin show was the Martin show. You know, it was black culture.
Yeah,
you know, everybody hate Chris is a little more, you know, inclusive, you know, but it was a good show.
But no, what if it was reversed and they were just like, you know what, we really need
a
white representation.
Martin.
Yeah.
White,
everybody hates Chris.
Catch hell.
Everybody hates Christian.
Yeah. Shit, hey, it would catch hell. Like, man, me and Katie, we went to the movies to go. We either went to the movies or watched it at home. We watched Little Mermaid that just came out.
Yeah.
How was it?
At the end, and so, you know, obviously, you know, like your typical story. Pretty good movie, I'm not gonna lie. But at the end, they show all these mermaids, right? And you have Chinese mermaid, black mermaid, Asian mermaid.
Fuck yeah.
You know, light skinned mermaid. You know, it's like. I was like, bro, why can't we just have what's her name, Meryl or whatever her name is?
Well, but like you said, like Ghostbusters, where it's like people might be, you know, the female Ghostbusters, whatever. It's still comedy. It's still chill. It's whatever. Yeah. But it's like I think people would be like, wait, this is kind of fucked up if they were just like, you know what we really need?
Yeah.
All black cast Ghostbusters.
Right.
Like. It would be more apparent to people.
Yeah.
And I think it is like pseudo progressive where it's like
it's like you want to
we got to market.
Here you go, damn it.
Yeah. Exactly.
This is all you're getting.
Right.
Actual effort.
Right.
Oh my god.
That's
for
so
sure.
True, bro.
For sure. Absolutely.
Oh man.
We gotta get those numbers way up.
All right. I think that is it. I think whatever there...
I have yapped all I can yap today.
I think if there's anything that has been left unsaid, that it should have been left unsaid.
Yeah, sure, man.
I think we covered our bases there.
For sure, for sure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being on.
Yeah,
it was,
absolutely. It was a blast.
That was very good.
Very good. Excellent.
Muy bien.
For the inclusivity.
Yeah. Mucho gusto.
Alright, that's probably all we should say for this week. We'll be back next week. New episode every Thursday. Lou's gonna keep saying whatever he can.
That's it. That's all I have. Bye.